All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the video for December 4th, 2013. Really, it's kind of like the December 4th of the European session because I'm doing this video in the Asian session. So let's get right into it. The Australian dollar fell on GDP that came in lower than expected. They were expecting zero point 0.7 and they got 0.6. Now, that might not seem like a big miss, but that's like a bigger than 10% miss on the report. So that is a big deal, and the Australian dollar dropped. It's interesting to me that the Australian dollar dropped and moved more on a GDP report than it did on an interest rate decision. So, what matters is the miss or the failed expectations. That's what really gets traders' juices flowing. As is usual, it fell initially and then it didn't go anywhere else. Now, this is in a clear downtrend on every time frame chart that you can possibly look at. And it does appear to be trying to make new lows. You can see here it made a new low, lower lows and lower highs. So this thing is just a beast. It is tearing apart the bulls at the seams. We had a buy at 91.60 that never opened, and we can remove all of our tools off of this 1 hour chart. There's no trade, and there's no trade on the 15-minute chart. So the Australian dollar on the 15-minute chart and the 60-minute chart is a no-go. On the 4 hour chart, we are getting closer and closer to setting up a trade here. We have divergence. We made new lows. And now we got to get rid of all the drawing tools here and see if we get a brand new divergence line here on the 4 hour chart. So the farther something falls or rises, the larger the time frame chart that we need to look at in order to plan a trade. It's coming. Eventually, it's coming. It's just not coming right now. So that's kind of a bummer, of course, but hey, it'll come around eventually. Next focus that I have is on the Swiss franc, Japanese yen. There's no trade on the 15-minute chart. Zero. There's no setup. Absolutely none at all. On the 60-minute chart, we can take a look at this as well, and you can see that we've been wanting to plan a sell trade at 113.18 and a move to break even at 112.81. This is just not looking. I said it before, and I'll say it again. We're looking for a smaller divergence up higher. I'd love to see this rise a little bit further and then set up another divergence. I'm going to skip taking this. I'm not going to take this trade. I'm looking at it. I've got all the numbers on the screen. You're free to take it if you want. The stop loss on this trade, if you take it, needs to go above the highs. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't do it under any circumstances, but I'm not committing money to this. My preferred chart is the 15-minute, and it is completely devoid of all opportunity. There's nothing on there that I could trade, so I'm going to skip it. This is the Euro Canadian dollar. Published this on TFL earlier today. We had a sell at 44.79, a move to break even at 44.62, and we're looking to see if this can fall to 44.47 or 44.50. This trade is in progress. You want to have your stop loss at break even. I'm not expecting that I would want to carry this any further than what we're looking at on the screen right here. It's fine the way it is. I'm not going to move anything about it. I'm not going to change anything about it. Pound New Zealand is my other focus, and on the 15-minute chart, it's just completely, once again, there's no divergence, there's no trade, there's no opportunity, there's no point in even looking at it. If you look at it from the 60-minute chart, here's what you'll see on the 60-minute chart. You'll see a currency pair that dropped after printing bearish divergence. So, big surprise. Big whoop, right? No big deal. The 4 hour chart was in the midst of a sell trade, and then that's just reversed tonight on the Australian GDP. I mean, it's all interrelated or whatever, but the New Zealand dollar weakened as well. What's bad for Australia is theoretically bad for New Zealand, and this is just a mess on this chart. Also, I got to tell you, everything is just in flux, and we are going to have a giant amount of trades, maybe closer to the end of the week. But for now, I've got everything out of my system. I have no orders on my platform. I'm going to watch and see what kind of movement we get overnight. I would love to see divergence. I would love to see bearish divergence on the pound New Zealand and then sell that on the 15-minute chart. I would love that. Absolutely looks like we're correcting downward. I would love to see some kind of a sell trade on the 15-minute chart here. That would just be delicious. But I don't know if we're going to get it or not. So we're in a holding pattern right now. You want to just keep your gunpowder dry and wait for the next setups that follow the system. And we'll probably be back tomorrow, right back in the game with a bunch of trades.